President Trump is traveling to Asheville, North Carolina.
So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not.
That there's not a spigot that can be turned to solve all the water problems that he alleges exist that don't exist as it relates to the state water system here in Southern California.
Well, they don't care about North Carolina. The Democrats don't care about North Carolina. FEMA is getting in the way of everything, and the Democrats actually use FEMA not to help.
I think the president is spot on. We had FEMA just a few weeks ago kicking people out of hotels. I've even heard some rumors that FEMA was disproportionately giving loans out based upon race. This is not a time for DEI. This is a time to help every individual.
When people believe such misinformation, and I don't mean it in a malign sense, maybe the president just doesn't know.
But I think we're going to recommend that FEMA go away.
You will be able to go back soon. Within a week.
The people are all over the place. They're standing and they say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said, 18 months.
President Donald Trump is making waves yet again, guys. From North Carolina to California, the former president is taking bold action to help struggling Americans recover from disasters, and he's not holding back. With FEMA under fire for its inefficiency and political games, Donald Trump is hinting at a shocking executive order that could very well completely reshape the disaster relief right here in this country. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom, he's scrambling after a fiery exchange with Trump, trying to defend his handling for the state's wildfire crisis. And that's not all, guys. LA Mayor Karen Bass finds herself in the hot seat as Trump calls her out right to her face, leaving her stunned and completely speechless. Guys, appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Thank you so much for sharing this video. It really does help us out on the channel here, getting the truth out. Let's get in here.
Items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water. Little things like water. The party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, in all fairness.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
President Donald J. Trump continues to make good on his promises to the American people. First Lady Melania Trump makes her presence felt and gives her own take on what's happening. California Governor Gavin Newsom comes face to face with President Donald Trump. And LA Mayor Karen Bass gets a rude awakening as the president calls her out to her face. Oh, it gets nasty. Now, I got all of that and a lot more today, but let's go ahead and start with President Donald Trump showing up in North Carolina. Check this out. And guys, thank you so much for hitting the like button. Thank you so much for sharing this video on your social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, even texting and emailing your friends this video. I really appreciate the support, you guys. Let's get going.
President Trump is traveling to Asheville, North Carolina today to visit areas still recovering from Hurricane Helene since it hit last September. That storm destroyed nearly 1,000 homes and killed more than 100 people there, leaving behind more than $50 billion in damages. President Trump slamming the Biden administration's response to the storm on Hannity. Watch this.
Well, they don't care about North Carolina. The Democrats don't care about North Carolina. What they've done with FEMA is so bad. FEMA is getting in the way of everything, and the Democrats actually use FEMA not to help North Carolina.
It makes no sense.
So I'm stopping on Friday. I'm stopping in North Carolina, first stop, because those people were treated very badly by Democrats. And I'm stopping there. We're going to get that thing straightened out because they're still suffering from a hurricane from months ago.
Joining me now is North Carolina Congressman Greg Murphy. Congressman, your reaction to this?
Good morning, Cheryl. I think the president is spot on. We had FEMA just a few weeks ago kicking people out of hotels. Fortunately, they've recanted that, and they're not going to do that until May 26. I've even heard some rumors that FEMA was disproportionately giving loans out based upon race. Now, when you look at what has happened to Western North Carolina, it's like Hiroshima in so many different ways. This is not a time for DEI. This is a time to help every individual. And now we have the rebuilder-in-chief back on, and I'm looking forward to traveling with the president today out west.
Now, I know it's frowned upon to compare different presidents, right? But I want you guys to realize something here. It took former President Joe Biden days to visit North Carolina after they were hit by Hurricane Helene. He took more than a year to go to East Palestine after the train derailment there, if you happen to remember that. And now we got President Donald Trump visiting struggling Americans, and he hasn't even been in the White House for more than a week yet. And of course, First Lady Melania Trump is also joining him to visit these people, since it's been reported that she, quote unquote, felt very badly for survivors, with the president revealing that the First Lady really wanted to be there for the people. President Trump also said something very interesting. He teased about a possible executive order that could do one of two things. Either FEMA is given a massive overhaul, or the entire agency could be eliminated altogether.
We've been watching President Trump at a hurricane recovery briefing in Asheville, North Carolina, saying he intends to pass an executive order to overhaul or get rid of FEMA. He says the system might work better if the federal government pays states directly instead. The president also criticized the Biden administration's response to Hurricane Helene, calling it the disaster after the disaster.
I'll also be signing an executive order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming and overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA. I think, frankly, FEMA is not good. I think when you have a problem like this, I think you want to go and, whether it's a Democrat or Republican governor, you want to use your state to fix it and not waste time calling FEMA. And then FEMA gets here and they don't know the area. They've never been to the area, and they want to give you rules that you've never heard about. They want to bring people that aren't as good as the people you already have. And FEMA's turned out to be a disaster. And you could go back a long way. You could go back to Louisiana. You could go back to some of the things that took place in Texas. It turns out to be the state that ends up doing the work. It just complicates it. I think we're going to recommend that FEMA go away.
Keeping up with the president, he's also recently made a visit to California, with Governor Gavin Newsom meeting with him. This is the governor just a day before he had to meet with President Trump.
When people believe such misinformation, and I don't mean it in a malign sense, maybe the president just doesn't know that there's not a spigot that can be turned to solve all the water problems that he alleges exist, that don't exist, as it relates to the state water system here in Southern California.
So we're less than 24 hours away from his visit. You're saying you haven't had any contact with the White House at all?
Well, I haven't. I'm grateful, though, that he took our invitation to heart, and that he will be here tomorrow. It's my understanding. I look forward to being there on the tarmac to thank the president, welcome him, and we're making sure that all the resources he needs for a successful briefing are provided to him. There's no limit to the resources we'll provide for that briefing, and as I say, I'm grateful that he appears to be coming
So you
up.
plan on talking to him tomorrow?
Well, I certainly plan on being there at the tarmac, and look forward to continuing to work not just with him, the administration, as it relates to the disaster recovery, as it relates to our efforts to collaborate with multiple federal agencies over the course of the next many years.
The president and governor faced off for the first time after a few back and forth statements on social media and the press. Gavin Newsom has repeatedly said that he doesn't want to make this political, even though he just can't seem to get Trump out of his mouth. I know that sounded kind of nasty. Anyway, not like that. The president on his end says that Gavin Newsom either has to work for the people or just simply resign for letting these wildfires happen. But their first meeting was a little bit more cordial compared to what we've been hearing them say as of late.
They are coming down with it. Governor Gavin Newsom, who's at the bottom of those stairs. Again, Governor Newsom did invite President Trump to come visit and take a look at the damage from the wildfires. So again, looks like a pretty warm,
friendly embrace.
Okay. Yes. And who knows what they're talking about? If only we could be a little fly buzzing around that conversation.
Right. I think, in general, they're polite, and it's sort of when they get in front of a camera or the other person's not in the room, it seems like that's when the vitriol comes out a bit. But it's interesting to see that.
Exactly. Well, again, we know that President Trump is going to do an aerial tour of the fire-damaged area. And as usual, when a president does arrive, there's usually a group of people standing there to get to meet the president. Let's listen in right now.
North Carolina, a little while ago, we have that in very good shape. We have the congressman in charge, and Michael Watley, and we're going to do a lot of work. We have the Army Corps of Engineers working as they are here, and I think you're going to see some very big progress. They left them high and dry, and now we're going to be taking a little tour with some of the people from the area. I appreciate the governor coming out and meeting me, Kevin, very much, and we'll be talking a little bit. We want to get it fixed. We want to get the problem fixed, and there'll be some ways, but it's like you got hit by a bomb, right?
Yeah.
Like you got hit by a bomb. Would you like to say something?
Most importantly, thank you for being here. It means a great deal to all of us, not just the folks in Palisades, the folks in Altadena that were devastated. We're going to need your support. We're going to need your help. You were there for us during COVID. I don't forget that. And I have all the expectations that we'll be able to work together to get this speedy recovery.
We will. We're going to get it done.
Newsom looked humbled here, didn't he? And it's not just him who has to fall in line. LA Mayor Karen Bass didn't have very much of an answer as the president criticized her right to her face. All she had were mere smiles and excuses. Now, here they are talking about the mayor's initial promise of giving people a permit to go back to their homes in 18 months. Why do people have to wait 18 months? This is a timeline that Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass changed within the interview because I guess she realized how insanely long it sounded. Check this out.
Not 18 months? Is it like we that's the answer that we got, and that's what we're all hanging on?
Yes.
So if you're telling us now faster, is it 6 months? Is it, I mean, all of our lives, rents, all this stuff is weighing on this.
6 months is no good.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can,
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family...
People are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
You will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important
week
thing
is
is
a
for
long
people
time.
to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
And if you guys watch that entire exchange, you would see Karen Bass interject multiple times as the president's talking, trying to make excuses that they've allowed certain actions to be taken, even though the people on the ground in the room that they're in are saying that they need permits to even get to their homes. This is by far one of the most embarrassing moments for the mayor in her entire career. At least this is how many of us see it. Now, I want to ask you guys, do you support this kind of in-your-face criticism from President Trump? Now, switching gears here, I want you guys to check out a previous live stream that I did where I talk about legacy media, specifically CNN, as they now have a boss who's telling them to go ahead and back off when it comes to President Trump, probably because they've been seeing their ratings fall. But that's just a guess. Make sure you guys check that out because layoffs are also part of that deal. As always, appreciate you guys sharing this video. Thank you so much for dropping a like on it. I really appreciate you guys' support. You have no earthly idea, and I'll see you all in the next one.